Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today on Earn While You Learn, all about apprenticeships and qualifications with Professional Academy and how you can have an alternative route into university education and also the benefits of a career in sales, marketing and management. So before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. If everybody could keep their mics muted unless you are speaking as a speaker. If you could, we'd prefer you to have your cameras on, but if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine too. This is being recorded for our YouTube channel, so all the information here will also be available to access there too. So I will get going. So welcome everybody. So today I just wanted to give you a bit of an introduction to what's going to be happening today. So we've got some speakers today. We've got our lovely apprentices Kiera and Connor, who are present apprentices, and we've also got Tracy joining us, who was a former apprentice and is now high up in the world of marketing, to give us some insights into her career and how she got to where she is. So let me just give you a bit of a background about me. I'm the head of operations for Professional Academy. I started my own journey with learning on apprenticeships and that kind of thing through NVQs that I did in a hospitality and catering background. I decided to drop out of university early, and I saw that as a really good way to progress and get up to a higher level in my career without following that university route. So, and now I've made it all the way up to management level in operations without a degree. So I have done some extra qualifications along the way, which have really helped me. And if I hadn't done my NVQs, you know, the apprenticeship programs that I did, I would never have made it to where I am now. So that's a bit about me. We are going to start with, who are we starting with today? Oh, I've forgotten doing, bear with me, sorry, bear with. Okay. We are starting with, so I'm just waiting for a page to open. Apologies, my laptop is very, very slow today, of course, when I need it to open quickly.
It's that Friday feeling, Hazel.
Yeah. So if anybody can help me out with the agenda I sent to you.
That's all right. I've got it in front of me here. I think I've got Tracy first, then Kiera,
Tracy,
then myself.
Thank you. Thanks, Connor. Okay, we're going to start with Tracy, who is our former apprentice. So thank you, Tracy, if you'd like to take it away.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for the lovely warm introduction and also the invitation to share this experience with you this morning. So so my name's Tracy Southwell. I'm the Managing Director of Hobart Equipment based in the UK and responsible for the UK and Irish business. And we are the leading supplier of commercial catering equipment here in the UK. So Hobart forms part of a wider global organisation, but I'm responsible for the business unit here in the UK. And it was really interesting to hear Hazel's journey this morning, where she didn't complete a university degree, and actually neither did I. So, you know, I didn't go to university. It was a, you know, quite a challenging option. Coming from my background, I was the first person in my family to even achieve O levels. Not that the younger people on the call will remember what those are back in the day, but I was the final year of O levels before GCSEs landed. And, you know, very much like Hazel, was much preferred to learn on the job. So was really keen to get out into work, and I'm a practical, hands-on person. I learn by doing, and therefore getting into work for me was a really, really, important choice to make. So I dropped out of A levels, but like Hazel, equally went on to do A levels at night school in my 20s, and then have continued my career really adopting, learning and development goals and objectives along the way, and actually only recently did my degree diploma in the last 5 years. So, you can tell that I'm not, as young as some of you guys on the call today. So I think the big message for me is, never stop learning, and don't think that there is only one pathway that you can follow. There are multiple options available, and apprenticeships I'm a huge fan of apprenticeships overall. They've really benefited me personally in my career journey. So yeah, as I say, I'm a big advocate of lifelong learning anyway. So access to funding to support your career and career development. I mean, what's not to love about that, right? So in terms of, I guess one of the questions that's been posed to me this morning is, how did I get into marketing? And I kind of fell into it. So I actually started off in banking and finance, and realized quite quickly I could make loads more money faster in sales and marketing. So I flipped my career from effectively taking accounting pathway, which I was finding really dull, into sales and marketing journey. And I actually have had the great privilege of representing some wonderful brands here in the UK. And back in the 90s, the first brand that I worked with was Walls and Cart Door Ice Cream. How I've ended up with commercial catering equipment and stainless steel, I have no idea. But anyway, it's been an interesting journey to get here. And I think at the time I didn't really understand the world of marketing, but this was my first experience of a global organisation that really led with marketing and brand. And whilst I didn't necessarily realise the power and influence of that at the time, that was kind of where my love for marketing, if you like, my journey started. But I would say in the last 10 years, really, that's where I've required both disciplines. So moving into a sales director role, and then to a sales and marketing director role, and then eventually into the managing director role that I've achieved in the last 10 years, wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't have had the I guess that rubber stamp. And I'm sure Diane will remember some of the conversations that we had regarding this, is that certainly in my career I felt I'd gained a lot of on-the-job experience, had built some great skills, had some fantastic knowledge, had tackled some behaviours as well along the way as I'd matured as into a leadership role. But really I needed that stamp of approval, because there were lots of people who were applying for roles that had been through that traditional path of achieving a degree, or even in some instances an MBA. So I felt, from my perspective, my educational seal of approval was the thing that was holding me back. So partnering with Professional Academy on my marketing diploma was a really important thing to achieve, and really opened up those opportunities into a leadership and management role even more for me. One of the other questions that I was asked was my greatest achievement and my biggest obstacle. And obviously over your career of 30 odd years, there's some highlights and some lowlights of my career. But what I would say is my biggest achievement is probably having a growth mindset. It's about really understanding that in order to continue and develop your career, I've always adopted the thought that I can do something, not that I can't, and I just have to find a way of achieving it, and not enabling people to put me off that journey. So I had a lot of people along the way that said, you're not good enough, you shouldn't do it, you can't do it. And I really chose to ignore those people, which again won't surprise Diane, in my forthright judgment of oneself, but really, really determined to set out my own stall and go and achieve my goal. So if that was a piece of advice that I can share today with everybody, is if you're determined to achieve something, then get great people around you to help you achieve that. And if I can just mention a moment, I had a great relationship with Diane, who was my mentor on my course programme, and she really supported my journey in a very constructive way, very good at handling tough feedback as well. So you know, she was really, really good at that. But I really felt from a professional academy perspective that I had a really great partner, because I'd done a leadership and management diploma previously with a different provider, and that was a horrendous experience. And I didn't really come out of that feeling, although I, you know, obviously achieved the certification, I really didn't feel that the company had supported me in any way. So I definitely say make sure you choose the right partner who can really support your needs in terms of the apprenticeship that you're pursuing. So yeah, greatest obstacle would be you know, yourself. Make sure that you believe in yourself and that you adopt this growth mindset, and never stop learning. I guess in terms of one achievement in my current role, I think I'd like to just perhaps take a moment to talk about is coming into the organisation and not just, you know, developing the marketing function, which you know, what I've done when I joined my current business, the marketing function really wasn't a marketing function, and it really wasn't functioning. So so if you Google Hobart and, you know, maybe look at some of our marketing materials maybe 3 to 4 years ago, and you look at current day, if that's you know, will really demonstrate the change that we've undertaken here within the organisation around establishing a really firm footprint for our brand, and ensuring that our brand resonates really well with our target market in the UK. So please feel free to check us out, and I'm on LinkedIn, so if there's anything, if you've got any questions you want to ask me privately after this meeting, then please feel free to link to link up with me. I'm happy to take any questions. And I guess one of the biggest achievements perhaps with Hobart is really taking the business from a cultural perspective, and focusing on things like sustainability and ED&I. And one of my greatest achievements here is taking the leadership team from 0% female to 100% female. So I'm super happy with that big challenge, and super happy with where we've ended up today. So, you know, yeah, that was definitely an achievement I wanted to share with you all today in terms of the last 3 years, is really shaping up the business to really unlock talent and talent potential, and to ensure that Hobart as an organisation continues to thrive. It's been around for 125 years. I would hate that all to come crumbling down under my leadership. So hopefully the changes that we've implemented make sure that the business continues to be successful for another 125 years. Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That was really interesting.
Thank you.
As Tracy said, if you want to reach out to her on LinkedIn, you can contact us afterwards, and we can put you in touch. Okay, so next we're going to hear from Connor, who's on our level 4 sales apprenticeship, and he's going to give us some insight into how he's getting on with the apprenticeship currently, and give us some other information about his career as well. So Connor, if you'd like to take it away, please.
No worries. I'm just going to go and shut a door so you don't get any interference, because I can hear some loud noises. Just me 2 seconds. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, perfect. Thank you, Hazel. So yeah, I was really glad that Hazel actually reached out to kind of ask me to kind of do this. I'm always really interested in doing these kind of things and just kind of share my experiences with this, because I think with an apprenticeship, when you hear the word apprenticeship, there's a lot of stigma, especially for me growing up. An apprenticeship was something you do when you're young. That's kind of where I had it in my head, and I thought, oh, my employer said, oh, well, would you like to go and do one? And I was a big advocate for it, and I was really a bit put off by the idea until I went to a benefits fair with the professional academy there, and I started to speak to him. I spoke to Martin there, and he kind of really brought to life and got rid of a lot of my worries. And I thought, well, actually, this does not sound like a waste of my time at all, and it sounds really beneficial. So the reason kind of, I suppose, why I had that stigma was when I was kind of coming out of school, I'd kind of had it set in my mind I wanted to go in the army for whatever reason at the time. That was kind of where I wanted to go, just to kind of go and see the world and explore life. As I kind of left school, I started to realise, actually, no, this isn't what I want. I want to go into something where I can have a nice career, and also kind of experience life around my family as well. So there was a big change in my kind of mentality in such a short period of time. And what I ended up doing, weirdly, from my a bit of background of kind of how I ended up falling into sales, was I ended up becoming a pub manager very, very early, which is a big kind of test of character when you're such a young age, dealing with kind of certain types of people on a daily basis, and yeah, just kind of being accelerated into a management role at the age of 20 for a big pub group was like I say, a bit of a challenge for me. So my partner fell pregnant, and I was up about a couple of years into the role, and I found actually I need to find something that's more sustainable for me and my family. I never thought of sales as a kind of a career path for me, but when I kind of looked into it, I kind of fell into a role where I was doing like brokering for car leasing deals, and I settled into it really quickly. And I started to understand that I actually enjoy having targets. I enjoy the thrill of making a sale, but also making someone happy, and making sure they've come away with what they need or want from it. So when I realised that, I thought there's something here. There's something that I need to kind of grow on. Unfortunately, at that time, I was part of a company that wasn't very supportive, and you were probably seen as more of a number. And because it was a small family-run business, there was a lot more pressure, I suppose, from the directors because that's their livelihood as well. So I decided after COVID, because of the car market kind of did fall flat a little bit, that I would kind of spread my wings and look into other areas that I could kind of look into. And that's where I fell into Halfords for the B2B department. And so at the time, I thought, well, it's quite local to me as well. There's no harm in finding out a little bit more. And yeah, I think from the get-go, it kind of really landed well. I liked the culture. One thing that I could really say is they're really supportive, and they really want to push me and develop me. As long as you're willing, they'll work with you, and it was really refreshing to feel quite welcomed into a team. So yeah, kind of what happened is quite quickly they pushed me into an apprenticeship. They could see that there was some raw underlying kind of talents within sales, but I feel like because I was left to my own accord, it was a case of kind of like reinstating those kind of bits of knowledge around sales, but also reinforcing them with the learning and putting them into practice. So I think the apprenticeship really worked well for me in the sales kind of side of things, just because of my day to day, it fitted in really well. Once I found out more, I started to realise actually there's a lot of this that kind of goes alongside what I'm doing on a daily basis, whether it be speaking to clients or internal stakeholders. All of it kind of went together, I suppose, and off the job learning. As a result of that was kind of really easy for me to kind of like correlate and kind of put stuff there. So I think what I'm trying to say is if you are worried about taking an apprenticeship, I suppose it does add to your workload. I'm not going to hide from the fact that it will add to your workload and make your weeks a little bit more busier. But if you've got the right employer and they're willing to support you and you're willing to learn, then I always would say go for it. I'm an advocate internally and externally for these kind of things now. But I think, yeah, my kind of main experience on the apprenticeship is it's been really good. I think Hazel, as you know, I'm quite a stickler for certain things. I like to check and make sure I'm tracking, and yeah, the support's there, which is really good. I've got my mentor Nadio, who's been really good, and I've been really lucky where, well, I say lucky. At the start of my apprenticeship, there's a few people that had dropped out for various reasons, so it ended up being one-to-ones with me and my mentor, really. So we built up a good kind of relationship, and yeah, I found it really, really useful. Yes, it'd be nice to bounce off people sometimes, but again, you've got that one-to-one kind of, I suppose. So I've kind of benefited, I probably would say, a little bit more because I find that better for me personally, so that we can kind of bounce ideas off each other. But what I'd say is midway through the apprenticeship, I was quite lucky enough to land myself a promotion midway through, just for the work, and I think it was because I was taking a lot of the skills I learned into my role, and I was actually seeing big changes. I was winning more. I was kind of getting more out of deals that I was expecting, and all of that kind of correlated and kind of combined into one kind of thing where my manager had seen it in a review and said, look, we need to make a role for you. So I now have my own team. where it's soon to become 4 of us collectively, and we're responsible for managing all things B2B in Halfords. So we kind of handle key cycles of work accounts, partnerships. We do like bulk ordering and sales and stuff as well. So it's a really kind of complex kind of job where we're doing different things on a daily basis, but it's really rewarding because there's always something to be working on. And like I say, I'm happy that I can transfer a lot of these skills that I've learned and put it into practice. And I've actually started using some of the decks to do my own internal training, and kind of making it my own. So some of my team, because we're more of a sales and account team, some people are more account management. Some people are like myself and one other have got a sales background. So we're using each other's knowledge to actually kind of combine and train each other, I suppose, in certain areas that we feel we lack with certain skills. So again, I found that really useful, and I've actually gone in and saved every deck just so I can use it for future learning and kind of make it my own and make it relevant to like Halfords and what I do as well. So, and I think that's really helped me kind of, because you can sit on a call and take the information in, but by doing those extra sessions with my team, it's actually reinforcing it tenfold, and it's staying in the forefront of my mind as well. I'd say in terms of my career, in terms of like kind of greatest achievement, that was one of the topics that we to cover off. I think it actually goes back to a previous role in the car leasing sector. So something that I was kind of tasked with when I was promoted a couple of years into that role, as I was there for I think 7 years in total. I was kind of tasked with dealing with a kind of a key account. So for Kiera Motors, I was kind of the forefront of the relationship with the brokerage. And we'd actually taken us from, I think, out of 30 brokers, we were like 17th bestseller. Within 2 years, we were the bestseller for the UK for Kiera, and I kept that relationship until I left. So that for me was a really big achievement because it was a massive, massive win. There was some good relationships created. It was just a shame I left the sector. But yeah, I think coming from that, I kind of learned that side of account management, because I always thought myself as a salesperson, but when I come into this role, I realised there's a lot of transferable skills with what I did there. So yeah, it has its challenges, kind of with what we do, but I think yeah, the skills I picked up along the way and the apprenticeship is helping me just continuously grow. I think that's the main thing, is if you can be, it's the saying I've seen, is if you can be 1% better every day, then look where you could be in a year or 2 years or 3 years. And I think that's the kind of what I live by, is you're not going to just grow astronomically in a day or in a week. It's all baby steps to get you to kind of where you want to be. In terms of the kind of the benefits, I suppose, of working in the sector, this is really subjective to you as an individual, I would say personally. Me, as I said earlier, I get a lot of self-satisfaction out of hitting targets that are set by me, exceeding those targets. That is my motivator. I mean, I would be lying if money wouldn't say is a motivator, but yeah, there is obviously that satisfaction and that motivation of hitting those targets, doing well, getting reward and getting praise, and getting the support, I suppose, of if I want to go and do something, my management trusts me to go and do it. And especially with this apprenticeship, for them, it could have been a big risk. It's me taking a day a week out from my role and still having to hit targets, and the fact I'm still doing it and surpassing them, for me, I'm really proud of, because yeah, it is a bit of a balancing act, I suppose, sometimes, because you've still got to do 5 days worth of work within a 4-day working week. So so yes, something has to give, and sometimes yes, you do a couple of hours extra here and there. That's just because I like to stay on top of my own work alongside the apprenticeship, but it's not a thing I'd say is go spend your Saturday doing work. I wouldn't never say that. But if you work Monday to Friday, try not to kind of work too much over, because you become a slave to work, and that's not kind of a good thing in my eyes. But yeah, I think in a kind of a nutshell, I think I will always, from now, be an advocate for apprenticeships, and I'm already looking at what I can do next after this one to kind of take myself to a higher level, and whether it be in the marketing world, because originally I never thought it would be relevant for me as a salesperson to really exercise looking into marketing, but after doing this apprenticeship, it feels a hell of a lot more relevant to what I do day to day. and I feel like I would benefit from that. So that is now something that I'm talking to my manager about, whether we leave a gap in between, because when I'm about to finish this apprenticeship, I'm due to get married. So I'll probably leave a little gap just to take some stress off my shoulders, and then relook at it then from there. But yeah, that's me. I hope that everyone's found that useful. And kind of like Tracy said as well, I'm on LinkedIn as well. So if there's any questions, any queries, I'm happy to support and give my feedback.
Thanks, Connor.
Hazel,
congratulations.
Can I just respond on one of Connor's comments, because it's so relevant. Look, what a great story. It was really brilliant to hear you share that with us, and thank you so much. You know, a lot of people think marketing is the crayon department. No, it absolutely is not. It's front and center of your strategic approach. So I think I was absolutely delighted to hear you say, Connor, that, you know, considering marketing, because it's so much more than what people think it is. And once you have that understanding, you can really leverage the value of marketing. You know, I still, you know, I haven't forgotten my marketing background. I haven't forgotten my marketing skills just because I'm managing director. So I thought that was a fantastic, fantastic next step in your journey, and good luck with the wedding.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, congratulations on the wedding. Excellent. Thanks, Connor. So next we're going to hear from Kiera, who is our Business Admin Apprentice within Professional Academy. And yeah, so Kiera, if you'd like to begin, take it away.
Thank you, Hazel. So obviously, as Hazel said, I'm Kiera. I work at Professional Academy, and I'm obviously doing the Business Administration Apprenticeship. I've been with Professional Academy now for just over 2 months, and a lot of my role day to day involves sort of a lot of student support and like sort of organising learners' data, information, and a lot of that sort of thing. So what else can I say about myself? So before this role, I actually just finished university. So I did a degree in English literature, and I also, during those 3 years, did some work experience, which is actually how I got into business administration and obviously ended up at Professional Academy. So during my degree, I was sort of thinking I didn't want to spend 3 years learning and not have any kind of practical skills that would kind of translate into the real world. So I did a 8-month sort of internship that was mainly in internal communications. So it did involve sort of, again, organizing data and content and creating content. But I think after that 8 months, I kind of realized what I didn't want to do as well as what I did want to do. I think that's always one good thing about like getting experience out, you know, in the workplace, is you kind of figure out just as much what you do like as what you don't, which I think is just as important. So I kind of learned from that I was more interested in kind of more of a customer facing role, and I thought that I would find that perhaps a bit more rewarding, and a bit more kind of being able to see the results play out a bit more externally would be kind of good for me. So yeah, that's how I got into business administration. And then my experience on the apprenticeship is I've just found it really like relevant. So I found that obviously I've done a degree and I've done A-levels, and I found that really, you know, important as well. But I think for me personally, one thing that's really important or really good about the apprenticeship is that you're actually playing things out like in real time. It's not just theories and it's not just theoretical. You're actually applying your learning to your day-to-day job. So you just get a more sort of consolidated understanding of what you're learning rather than just sort of learning it, writing it down. You're actually applying it. So it's just makes all the learning really relevant. And then the next question was, what is my greatest achievement or the obstacle that I've overcome? So I think since being on the apprenticeship, one thing that I was, funnily enough, really nervous about was like answering the phone to customers, even though this was something that I really wanted to do. I'd never done it before, but it was something that I really wanted to get better at. So I think that's probably the biggest obstacle that I faced, because obviously when you pick up the phone, you don't know what people are going to ask, you don't know what people want to know. So I think just the fear of the unknown. But I think one thing that I've definitely learned is that as long as you have people around you who you feel as though you can ask questions, and it's okay to, no one expects you to know everything as soon as you start on an apprenticeship. Like, that's the whole point. So I think, yeah, as long as you have that kind of good support around you, everything just feels like a positive learning experience, even if you don't know all of the answers. So I think that's probably as well the main benefit of working in the sector, is sort of being able to apply the knowledge that you learn, because I think it's okay having all of this knowledge, but making it relevant to your actual work and to your career, I think is just so important, because if not, you don't appreciate, or you just don't relay the knowledge, so you kind of lose it if you're not using it and practicing it regularly. It's just not as valuable. So I think, yeah, having that real life kind of application just makes the learning like really valuable, and just, yeah, really, really good. But yeah, I think that's everything from me.
Thanks so much, Kiera. So it's good to hear that we're giving you an all-round experience in the office and on the apprenticeship. So that's lovely to hear. So if anybody has any questions at all to the group, then please use the Q&A function at the top of the screen if you've got anything that you want to add. The webinar is going to be available, as I said, on our YouTube channel, so please look out for it there if you want to go back and refresh anything that you've seen today. If you want to reach out to anyone on LinkedIn and you're not sure where to find the details, then also you can pop us a message in the chat, or afterwards reach out to us via email. Has anybody got anything they want to add? I hope that's given you lots of information, and it's nice to hear all the sort of powerful stories that we've been listening to today and the benefits. Any advice for those just starting their apprenticeship? So, any of the group want to take that question?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer it. Yeah, I think for me, and this again will always be subjective, but at the start, don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think at the start of it can be very overwhelming, because you feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. That's how I was at the start. I was panicking, thinking I need to hit the ground running. I need to do loads at the start. In realism, I'd put too much stress on myself from the get-go. So I think, yeah, don't be your own worst enemy, and kind of get inside your head and panic. It all comes naturally. The start process, it is a little bit slow, because you need to find your feet on what works for you. But also use people like Hazel to get the support. I think for me, I didn't know at the start, truly understand the officer job learning and how to log it. But yeah, with a bit of a few conversations, it all made sense. But I think, yeah, I just got a bit overwhelmed, I suppose. So yeah, just use the people around you, I suppose, to kind of get the support you need.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I would always say, don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions to anybody in the team that you're working with, whether that's a mentor, somebody in student support, me, any of the people at Professional Academy, or are all here to help you. So if you ever need any questions answered, then it's just a case of reaching out to us. I would also say, for those starting their apprenticeship as well, if you were looking to get into an apprenticeship, the best thing to do is to put yourself out there. Make sure you've got a CV ready, make sure you've updated your LinkedIn, promote yourself as best you can, and always make sure you do a spell check on anything that you're sending over. Before you send out any CVs to prospective employers. It's so important to make sure that you're showing that professional image right from the get-go, and it takes 5 minutes to do. So that's my advice. Any other questions at all? Another thing about people looking for apprenticeships, so you can look on the National Careers Service, you can look on the Find an Apprenticeship website, you can just Google for apprenticeship, and a whole list of different things will come up in every sector, every industry, every kind of job that you can think of. and it's just a case of getting on there and applying. As I said, making sure you've got everything up to date in your CV and everything to get going. Also, I would make sure that you take some time to think about the commitment that you're making. You're making that commitment to yourself and to the employer that you're working with and to the training provider. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it can only benefit you to stay on the program. So making sure that you're doing the right one, and making sure that when you're looking at application forms and you're filling in a skill scan, maybe like ranking yourself and your current knowledge, skills and behaviours against a set standard, that you're answering it as truthfully and honestly as you can, so that you get the most out of the duration and funding of the apprenticeship with the provider and your employer. Anybody else want to add anything at all?
Can I say a few words, Hazel?
Yes, of course. Please, Diane, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming on the call, and it's fabulous to see Tracy, because I am so proud of you, of what you've achieved. And yeah, I knew it was in you from the first time we met. And we went on an interesting journey, didn't we? And as I say, just so proud to see. And it's not just, excelling in marketing, but you've taken those transferable skills, to even greater heights. Kiera, it feels like you've been with us much longer, and that's a good thing. So wow. And Connor, what an inspiring journey already, and you're still really young. So gosh, where are you going to end up? That's fantastic. And I'm the same. I didn't go to university and get a first degree. I did go and get a master's after doing all the CIM qualifications while still working, which is sort of like doing an apprenticeship. I probably did it a harder way. So if there were apprenticeships for marketing when it was my time, I definitely would have done it, because like Tracy, I learned by doing. I don't know how many times my husband's told me how to use the TV, but until I want to use it, it doesn't go in. I absolutely love working with apprentices, because I learn so much from them. And I think that's a really important thing. You've got so much to give, so much knowledge already, and we're just honing that and bringing you out as a professional person in whichever discipline. Yeah, I just really, really proud of everybody. And it's nice to hear, Halfords is a great employer. I've worked with some marketing apprentices from Halfords. It's that three-way thing, isn't it, where we work with the individual and the company, and it's a win-win all around, and it's lovely to see it when it comes together so nicely. Thanks.
Thanks, Diane. I think just to add to that, I think one of the most important things about qualifications and apprenticeships, and whichever route you take to get to where you are is where you're meant to be. So if you're not doing an apprenticeship and you're going to university, that's brilliant. If you're, doing an apprenticeship and then going into a qualification and then doing a master's, and then, there's no right way to do it. There's no set way to do it. Just because what you have in your head as the traditional method of getting to that career that you want, there's no such thing. There's no traditional way. You can get to it anyway. You can get to it just on work experience alone. If you're working really hard and you have the right opportunities. But all of these routes, is things that we can help you with at Professional Academy. So if anybody wants to get in touch and learn more about how to actually start an apprenticeship or do one of our qualifications, or how you can get into some of our training, or maybe if you want to use your expertise and deliver for us as a tutor. So Connor, we're going to be grooming you for the future. Please do get in touch by LinkedIn, by email, for our website. And thank you everybody so much for your time today. And I believe we've come to the end of the call there. I think that's everything from everybody, unless anybody has anything else to add.
No, just to say thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you very much, Hazel.
Thank you, Ross.
Take care.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.